Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Hayoim shmoinu shloishim yoim sheim chamisha shavuos ushloisha yomim ba'omer. Lili nishmas Zechurya Leah Shalom Bas David, a 12-year-old girl, learning the daf on the way to Manchester from London. Instead of watching football and other stuff, kind regards Shaya S. since Tainus Daf Bays, London, Stamford Hill. I think I'm going to be taking one of these trips soon. Maybe from Manchester to London. Oh, on the way to Manchester from London. I'm going for Kert, Zechurya. We shall announce that soon. Hi, Rebelli. Rebbe did one of his classic audiotainment demonstrations pertaining to Daf Pei Aleph, crushing grapes with his feet. Might I suggest for the seam of Bava Metzia, the Rebbe make another batch of wine and grape juice and auction it off. Which do you think would sell them for more money? Rebelli special Daf Yomi wine or Kutach? Keep up the audiotainment, stay star, keep on daffing. Warmest regards, Joey Candleman, Yuma Daf Bays. I wonder, maybe this is Mark Candleman's brother. Basically nicht. Chanan Pressman was excited when I said that Nisanel's pushing to do the Chumash here. Of course he's excited. Bar Torah, many Chevra who have not opened up a sefer for so long, now they won't miss a day. Unfortunately, the same is not more, if not more, is happening to so many Shabbos tables. Everything under the sun and more is discussed, but no vart on the Parsha. The father, the wife, all the kids will be drawn into MDY like a magnet when he's asked, who told you that nice Dvar Torah? Anyways, he says he has a var from the Chavetz Chaim, the Mahalach Koisa Maisa, the first measure rabbi in this week's Parsha, and like the Chavetz Chaim that I said, with David HaMelech saying, Chishafti derochai v'oshivo raglai elisecho. Besides David HaMelech, Yaakov Avinu seemingly disobeyed his parents to go to Haran by stopping off at Shem Ve'ever for 14 years. How exactly is that possible? And the answer is that the Hiluch and staying at Shem Ve'ever for 14 years, in fact, all part of the kiyum of his parents' wishes and not a detour of any sort. It was a necessary action to probably fulfill his parents' wishes. That Alicha was Ka'isa Maisa, a perfect sushtel. Have a good Shabbos. Hope to see you soon. Achan Pressman says Arya Hershkowitz. Since I joined MDY at the beginning of Masechtas Kedushin, I heard you pointing out numerous times the importance of skip ahead, catch up later. But I didn't get it until something unexpectedly happened on Erev Pesach. Unexpected on Erev Pesach, which got me a few daf behind. And while trying to catch up, the gap only got bigger. So after a few days, I skipped ahead. And Baruch Hashem was able to catch up everything over the last few weeks. As Ashgacha Pratis, or in MDY language, a kiss from Hashem, the upcoming Siyum is the day before my niece's wedding. I'll take part in the RBS. Sher is walking distance from MDY, so looking forward. Who is this? Arya Hershkowitz from Monroe, New York. And then we have another one from Monroe today. Two from Monroe. Spending a few days vacation in Miami and while staying connected to Torah at the same time, learning the shir with you daily basis, I had an extra siyata shmai to have Why vacation in plane. Was able to learn the daf in flight, which was very uplifting. But here's the special cherry on the top of the cake, kiss from Hashem. I went to daven Mincha Meir last night, Chasidim in North Miami Beach. I had the pleasure to meet your Choshev father, Shlita and Shul. And just listened to the Talmud, and I told him that listening to your shir daily for a while, and it's truly amazing. He smiled and asked me where I'm from. When I told him that I'm from Kiryas Yoel, he gave me a look and said, "That is doch Yiddish." No, he didn't say that part. And we continued the shmuz in Yiddish for a few minutes, and we discussed some of the recent topics of Agad. I must tell you, I was blown away by his knowledge and memory. Your father displayed it with a few short moments I spent with him, and furthermore, by his true Anovim Pashtas, talking to me, a total stranger, to such humiliating geschmack. I consider it a privilege and zechus to have met him. Best regards and stay well. Eli Melech Reich. Today's Daf is sponsored Masechta Anonymous for the safe and speedy return of all the hostages. Parnas HaChodesh Li'nishmas Zechariah ben Moshe Li'nishmas Zechariah bas Yosef. Parnas HaShavua. May this Daf be in the merit of Refuah Shelaima for Lana Devorah bas Hadassah Leah of Baltimore, a mother whose critical condition after having her fifth child. Parnas Hayoim, Klal Yisrael. Parnas Hayoim, in honor of Dani Benedict, by happy birthday. Dani, happy birthday to you by your wife. The art of the day, you're not going to believe it. It's the same as the Parnas Hayoim, the first one, Klal Yisrael. I don't know what that means. Rabbi said we have a very long daf today and don't expect to finish it all, especially that we're starting in the middle of Tzadik Beis and Beis. But that's why we have Motzei Shabbos and Sunday. Very geschmack stuff. We actually have some very interesting videos today. So I have a shayla for the olam. This is a good one, a very good riddle. And if you know the answer to this, it's 12,000 points. How is it possible that a person becomes tamei? Oh, by the way, I forgot to say, yesterday I had the great privilege. I was supposed to speak in one yeshiva, Shalavim. I happened to be in Imre in the morning, Imre Bina. And the yeshiva asked me to speak. It's like, I didn't really prepare anything. I didn't, but I got up there and spoke. It was beautiful. And then I had the unbelievable opportunity. I spoke in Imre before, 2 years ago, so I'm kind of familiar. I told him about you, actually. Yeah.
What did you know?
Can we talk about this later? Like, you're disturbing my monologue here. First you're schmoozing with Noam, then you're shoving these things in my face. Now, enough.
You said it was beautiful.
I'll tell you later. I told him about myself.
Everyone's bar.
And you're not going to believe this. In Shalavim, Remendi came up there. Remendi was there. And the guy made a beautiful hesped about me. But the main part was, he's saying, this is one of the most humble people of our generation. And I looked at Mendy. He didn't say it like that. But he was like, he's very humble. And I'm like, Mendy.
You said he was humble?
No. Rav Waxman got up. So, anyways, no, they were very, it was, from all the yeshivas I spoke in, they were very, like, how many people were in that room? 100 something people. They asked questions for the longest time. Like, I had the most questions asked, but in a very, very well mannered, it was not like polite, no crazy questions, nothing to hurt my feelings, nothing, just like it was very chashuv, very, very chashuv. Anyway.
Not like here, right? We don't know.
Those who ask. Anyway, so here we go. Rabbi Isai, here's the riddle. How's it possible that a person becomes tamei without touching something that's tamei, without being above a kaver, without being inside an oil, without touching? I said without how?
I got it.
No, but that you touch. Correct, by touching the things. Yeah, but the thing is the spritzing, the water makes you tamei. So you touch something. So without touching anything, no, without carrying, without something coming out of your body, without anything. So we're going to see something today on today's daf that we never learned before. A big chiddush. What? Ruach hatuma makes you tamei. No, doesn't. You don't become tamei. How many days do you become tamei from ruach hatuma? I'll give you a hint. You become tamei for 7 days from this. No. Zog the Gemara. Toshma. So here we go. We are, I don't know how many lines from the bottom. 20 lines from the bottom. Just to remind the Olam where we're holding yesterday. We had a question when a worker who's picking fruit off the tree, they're ready. The fruit. Shalom Aleichem. I forgot to show you a thing. I'll show it Bezer Hashem. How was? It was Givaldik. Took a picture under the Shartitos. Learning the daf, of course. When a person is working and he's permitted to eat the fruit, the Torah says he's allowed to eat fruit. So we ask the question: is it mishaloyu oichel? Is it coming directly from the employer? Is it a bonus to his salary, or is it mishamayim oichel that Hashem gave him like a matnas aniyim, etc.? So the Gemara says Tashma. Koitzitz Adam ayidei atzmai. We have a Givaldik picture for that. Koitzitz Adam. What does that mean? Here we go. I'd like to trade in my allotment for cash. So this guy is a gross fresser. He eats a lot of grapes, and he wants to trade it in for cash. He tells me, look, I'm going to eat 25 pounds of grapes, I want $25 instead. Give me $25. He could do that. It's worth money. He can make a deal. That's worth $1,000. Give me $50 and you have a deal. I won't eat anything. Now, here's a bigger chiddush. Now, I just want to point out that what we're reading right now, we're going to be reading word for word. This is actually the Mishnah on Tzadik Gimel Amud Aleph, word for word, and it's explained even more over here on Amud Beis. So let's pay attention here. And when we get to Amud Aleph, we could fly. We won't. You are permitted to tell the owner of the field, give me cash. I'll make sure that my son, who's 17 years old, and my daughter who worked there, they won't eat anything. Why? Because, as we're going to see, they're meichel him. Even if he has no connection here to their salary, but sometimes the father takes without so much, they're meichel. Okay. And his own slaves, because in a way he does have a connection over here. We're going to see at the end of the sugi, Mishamayim Moichel. The truth is, I'll tell you the end. I'll ruin it for you guys. There's a machloikis if it's Mishamayim Oichel or Mishalay Oichel. But let's say our Mishnah goes Mishamayim Oichel, that it's not even a bonus, it comes from Shamayim. So these kids are Moichel, their father. It says before in the Gemara here, Ishtoi, your wife, your wife has das, according to the Gemara. Don't argue in this. It says before over here. It's not such a chiddush. For some people, it's a chiddush. Now, what's going on here? The Havamina is b'malam l'mezonos. Oh, this is very, very important. This is very, very important. V'loi. You cannot do this. You can't do this trick where you take cash up in front and you tell your young son and daughter not to eat. We have to remember this line. This is the only one that we're going to remember for now. You cannot do this idea. You can't take money in lieu of your 9-year-old slave working away in the sun and not eating the fruit. Why? Because he doesn't have mechila. He can't be moichel the balabais. And certainly not for an animal, because the Torah says by an animal, so there's no. You can't tell the guy, listen, my animal won't eat while he's threshing. Just give me $20. It's not up to you. It's up to the animal. Hashem said you can't put a muzzle on an animal. The das is really on the eved. We're talking about in a situation, the Havamina is we're talking about a situation where the father, the husband, the master provides food to his slave, to his child, to his wife. He provides food. So it's in lieu, hold on, you said no questions, right? So in lieu of that food, malam l'mezonos. And that's why, sorry, did I just say something? No. That's why he's able to do this deal. I provide the food for you. So therefore, in return, I take your bonus. Now, if it comes from Shamayim, he doesn't have the right on it. It comes from Shamayim. This bonus comes as a bonus, not as a gift from Hashem. How come he can't do it when it comes to the smaller children? We're talking about where he doesn't provide them as and therefore he doesn't deserve their sechar. But if he doesn't deserve the sechar, so why does he get from his older children? He doesn't deserve it. He doesn't even pay. He has a 19-year-old kid, and he doesn't even give him food. So why should he take his salary? A child knows about it. His father tells him in advance, by the way, I'm taking your bonus. And he goes and he works, so he knows about it, and he works anyway. So that means he doesn't care. He loves his dad, and he lets his father take it. Who's Rabbi Shaya? Shaya is the Tana that wrote the Brisa, like Rabbi Chia. Rabbi Chia and Rabbi Shaya, right? So Vatana, Rabbi Shaya, there's a Brisa. So let's just Yeah, could be. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
Someone else.
Could be you're right. Could be you're right. Fine. So what do we have? Look, Rabbi Isai, what do we have so far? Look, the Mishnah. Okay, it's very possible you're right. Oishia, you're right. It is Oishia. Okay, scratch that. There's a Bryce from Rishai. Says, look what we have here. In the Mishnah it says you do not take the money of the fruit in lieu of the fruit when you have a young slave. And now we're going to have the Brisa says that you could. So we have a contradiction between the Brisa and the Mishnah. I just want to pause there and tell you a quick story because we went a few minutes without a story. The Motzei Shabbos, there was in those days the parrots used to decide who becomes rabbi. So he was interviewing two potential rabbanim. One is a real Amaretz, and one is a big Talmid Chacham. So he gives the Amaretz. He says, "Listen, whoever can read better, he becomes the Rav." So he opens up the siddur. He says, "Okay, read over here." The Amaretz looks. He sees Adon Elam. Oh, he reads it Balpeh basically. Passes with flying colors. Then he gives the Rav, the Talmid Chacham. He gives him this. Check this out. This is for Purim. This is in the siddur. As kaitzes ben kaitzes kitzutze lekatzes b'du b'mefaitzes ritzutze l'ratzes. Leis b'vay l'loitzes pulatz v'nisloitzes. Katz b'chatzes m'chatzes b'nei zaltziva. Kitzitz kaitzes. And the kaitzes thing didn't work. He's breaking his teeth, so he gave the job to the Amaretz. So the Talmid Chacham was very depressed, and he told his friend about this, and he says, "You don't deserve the job. When a parrot asks you to read, us kaitzes ben kaitzes, he's just supposed to say, he doesn't know what it says. You made a big mistake. It's a Motzei Shabbos, kimat. But where's that bottle of wine? Do we have it? Where? You want to show it for a second? I don't see it. It's not on my thing. Maybe all the way at the end? Here. So there is ben toises gizuzi legazis betame foitzit samachti lerakid. And what? Really? That I didn't pay attention to. I got it. So I was mamash mechaven. I didn't understand what this.
Magical magazine. Pictures move.
No, Benny said because I said it yesterday. He says, "Look, it's in the thing. Gizuzi legazis betame foitzit." Now I understand what the art. I didn't understand the advertisement. Now I chop it. It has to do with that thing. Okay, it's a lumdish advertisement. Great. Says the Gemara. We have a contradiction. Here's the contradiction again. We have the Mishnah says you're not kaitzitz for a younger slave, and in the Brisa you are. So we have 3 or 4 different ways we could answer this thing. The first one is the first one is the last one. The first one is what we're trying to do. We had a question, when the employer pays you that extra fruit, you're allowed to eat that fruit, does it come from the employer or does it come from Hashem? So when I say that you cannot give your young slave, it's because it comes from Hashem. When it comes to Hashem, you're not allowed to take that. You can't make a deal with the master. It's not yours. It came from Hashem directly to the slave. And perhaps the Brisa, when it says you could make a deal with your young slave and take the money instead of your young slave eating, is because it's a salary, it's not a gift. That's what the Gemara wants to say to begin with. The Gemara pushes it off, but at the end, the Gemara comes back to it and says, it's a machlokes between the Mishnah and the Brisa. So our whole question, is it Mishalai, or is it Mishamayim, is machlokes the Mishnah and the Brisa. Says the Gemara, this is a hard read here. Just means you could. We just said you can't. And then it says yes. And then it goes back. And here's the stira. V'koitzes means yes. It says meforish you could do kitzitza. What's kitzitza? The guy in the tractor, he's in lieu of me eating the grapes, I take cash. You could do that for a young slave. So That's green. Yes. Our Mishnah says red. No. It's contradiction. My both the Mishnah and the Bryce are talking about that he provides their sustenance, their mezonos. This is the machlokes. The Mar Savar Mishloy Oichel. So we go to here. The Brisa holds Mishaloi. It comes directly, the extra fruit comes directly in a form of a bonus from the salary from the Balabayas, and therefore you could do ketzitza for a katan. Omar Sava Mishal Shamayim Oichel, since it comes from Shamayim, it's a matnas Shamayim, like matnas Aniyim, you cannot make a deal. Loi the Kulava Mishloi Oichel. Perhaps we don't have a raya. There's no raya. Why? Because I could be doich, I can say, everybody holds that it's a form of a bonus, it's a salary. Here we go, so we're going to switch this. What's the pshat in the Mishnah that you cannot do it? Because he didn't provide his food. You don't provide food, you don't get anything in lieu of the food. You have nothing to make a trade. If the master pays for his meals, so in lieu of that, he takes his bonus. Says Gemara, how do you explain the Brisa? Look at the Brisa on the left, that he gave him a zaynos. If so, why doesn't it work by a katan? Says Gemara, the point is because you cannot tell your son, your little kid, with the slave, yes, but your child, the cash is on the child. How come it doesn't work with your own child? If I give my kid pizza every single day, I should deserve to get his bonus. The answer is no. I cannot tell my kid to work in the sun and not be able to eat the grapes. I don't have that right. I could trade his salary maybe for mezonos, but I can't tell him that he should be mitzvah and sit there and suffer in the sun. And how do we establish? What do we say here? Check it this out. The Mishnah, he didn't give him mezonos. Daf Yomi Aleph. There's a machlokes whether or not a master could tell the slave, I want you to work and I'm not going to provide any food. So if you say that the master cannot say that, and in the Mishnah, he didn't give him mezonos, we said he didn't give him mezonos, you cannot say that. And the Mishnah says, but he did it. He did it anyways. He told the slave, I'm not providing you. So if I'm not providing you food, that means that he doesn't take his whatever benefit he brings. You can't take a salary. You cannot tell your slave, hey, work without me providing you food. If I don't provide you food, like it says over here on the bottom, on the bottom under the Mishnah, so then he gets 0 from the slave. So that's why you can't do ktsitsa. You can't take the money that he gets for not eating grapes. And Shapir, it works out great. But if you're permitted to tell your slave, you work all day long, I'm not giving you food, so he's going to die? No, he'll knock on doors and he'll get food. But nevertheless, I could do that. So why can't I take the money in lieu of the grapes that the Torah says he could eat? Michael Meimar. How come in the Mishnah it says loy kaitzitz? Why not? Kaitzitz. Okay, so we're taking that back. Another try. We're just talking about he doesn't provide food. That goof is the machlokes. Here we go. Whether or not you're allowed to tell your slave, I'm not going to give you food. According to the Mishnah, you're not allowed to say, Lo yomer eni zancha, I just put it, I didn't have enough room in there to do the whole thing, eni zancha. You're not allowed to, and if you're not allowed to, then all profits go to the slave. Umar savar, umar savar yachol, umar savar yachol. The left, the Brisa holds, you could tell your slave, eni zancha, and therefore, even if I don't provide food to you, I take your money. And the Mishnah holds, you're not allowed to say that. And if you told him, I'm not going to provide you food and work on your own, you have nothing to do with his bonus and his salary. Harav. So let's look at this chart for a second. Rabbi Yochanan says, you could tell your slave, work for me and I'm not going to provide you food. What box does he fit in over here? He says you could. Where does it say you could on this box? Anybody? Somebody? The one on the left. Oimer le'eved eni zancha. All the way in the bottom, left. You could. So Rabbi Yochanan lines up with the Raisa. That's terrible. Rabbi Yochanan, how could Rabbi Yochanan say like a Brisa, not like a Mishnah? Ella, so finally, we're going back to the original. What's the machlokes? Since we went through all the steps, and we can't fit the Brisa and the Mishnah into any way we want, we have to go back to the original. Originally we said this, but we said maybe we could say something else, but it didn't work out so well. So we're going back to the original. Well, sorry, I'm not there yet. Sorry, we're not the original. Another try. Everybody holds that the bonus that you're eating the fruit comes from Hashem. And you're not permitted to take that bonus. Why? Because it comes from Hashem. So why does it say in the Brisa kaitzitz? Look, it says Brisa kaitzitz love. You're allowed to. No, you don't understand. My kaitzitz damer Rabbi Shaya mizaynos. That I'm allowed to tell the master of the slave, listen, your slave is coming to work by me in my vineyard. I'm in France. My grapes are worth $1,000 a pound. I don't want your slave eating my grapes. Do me a favor. Let's make a deal. I'll give you $100. Make sure he eats pizza and hamburgers, everything before he comes. And like this, he won't touch my stuff. That's what it says. You're allowed to do that. Yeah? The nice and kesef lahachalav that I just wrote in my lashon, that you're permitted to feed a slave beforehand, make a deal with the owner, feed him as much as you want, here's money, do it. Just make sure he doesn't touch my fruit. Are you allowed to do that with an animal? We said yes. Here, let me remind you.
Have the thing under him?
No, this one. You put a pile of hay beforehand, let him fresh that hay, and don't touch my threshing. You could
eat it after.
You could eat it before, you could eat it after. But you're allowed to do this. So if that's the case, how come we learned a second ago, in the Bryce it says, the only time you're allowed to do ketzitza is for your young slave. But for your animal, not, because ain't boidas. If the pshad is that you're allowed to provide food beforehand, not money, that I get money instead of you eating. It means, I'm giving you food beforehand. I'm filling up the slave beforehand. So why can't I do that with an animal? It says it's also to do that with an animal. So maybe this pshat is wrong. It has to shtim, it has to go well with the animal, and it doesn't go well with the animal. We said it's mutter to give food to an animal. According to what you're saying, it's also to give food to the animal. You should be able to feed an animal beforehand, as we said, mamish mefurish, this picture. We're going back to the original. This is the end of the sugya, Rabbi Say. You could all wake up. Don't look at me. It's not the first time. He's like shocked. Something about my voice. Maskana the Gemara is this. We had a question. When the Torah says you're allowed to eat fruit as you're picking fruit off the tree, are you getting a bonus from your employer or are you getting a bonus from Hashem? And the answer is, it's a machloikis tanoi. Our Mishnah holds it's mishamayim, and the Brisa holds it's a bonus from your employer. Says the Heilige Mishnah, sponsored in recognition of all the Chaver of MDY and myself. What's this? Oh, today is the shloishim of Sarah Alashon, the ptira of, the 12-year-old girl that we say the. So I guess we didn't start all the way in the beginning of Sfira. It came in the middle taka. Okay, the neshama should have an aliyah, and the mishpacha should have an achama. If it sounds familiar, we learned this word for word, almost the entire Mishnah. A person's allowed to make a deal with the owner of the grapes and says, listen, you give me cash and I won't touch your grapes. Like this, right here. He's allowed to do the same deal like they for his son and daughter, the Hugdoilam. Why? We established already that our Mishnah holds what? Anybody remember from a minute ago? Our Mishnah is Mishamayim or Mishaloi? Mishamayim. So therefore, you don't have any Rishus on it. However, the older ones, they're Moichel you. They have das. What does that mean? They moichel you. If somebody doesn't have das, can't do this. Why? It's mishamayim. They can't be moichel you, and it's a gift from Hashem, it's not a bonus to the salary. Rabbi said we had this as well. By the way, let me just show you real quickly, just the bottom line halachas, that a worker could eat from the produce that he's working with, provided that it's about to be picked off the tree. But if it's mechuber before that, you're not allowed to. And if it's talosh, if it's off the tree, but it's after the Gemar Melacha, we learned, let's say it's already meiser, challah, no eating. And if it's not gidulim min haaretz, like fish, like milk, we said, cheese, no good, you don't get to eat. Okay. Neter Ravai, I don't remember if we have it or not here, it's Neter Ravai. The 4th year of a tree has the halacha of Meiser Sheni, sort of, and you go to Yerushalayim, you Yerushalayim. So if you lie to workers, you tell them, I don't know if it's lie, but let's just, l'saber sizing. You go over to guys, listen, I have unbelievable grape in my vineyard, trust me, they're delicious, come work here. They come to work, and then they find out it's the 4th year, it's also for them to eat it. They can't eat it. Grapes are caramel. Correct. If he did not notify them, that's already like what? I forget. The first case he didn't say. Maybe he didn't say anything. Now, he didn't. No, it says that you're right. So the first case he did. I guess he did tell them. But if he didn't notify them, he has to redeem them like you do for Ma'aser Sheni, and then you get to eat because it's like mekach tos. This parsi gulov, we had this as well. I'll remind you. This is igulit vela, the cakes of the figs fell apart. So you hire someone to put them back together. You don't really notice that that there was a gemar malacha. When you make it a cake like that, you can no longer eat from it. Why? Because it's chayv and meiser. This patchuchav Yosef, once the wine is in the barrels, then you can't eat from it. It's chayv and meiser. They don't eat. Im lo yedian. Maser machilon, if he didn't notify them, he has to provide the meiser of it, the 10% of meiser and the 2% of truma, and then they get to eat. Shoyrei peiros. If somebody's watching the field of fruit, whatever fruit, we'll see in a second, like David, Reb David, remember what he dressed up like? On Purim, the Shomer Kishum guy. Shoyrei peiros oichlem mehilchas medina. So here's a very interesting thing. A guy that works on a tree, he's actually working. The Torah says, is he working? He gets to eat. What's a shomer doing? He's sitting there. He's a klutz, basically. Oh, who's a shomer? The Gemara says, the guy that loses his hand is this. He could at least be a shomer kishuim. Okay? It's the least work you could possibly do. What? So shomer peiros oichlem mehilchas medina. It's a lot like a minog. Avaloy minat Torah, not midaraisa. Shomer Peiro, he says the Gemara, we're talking about who gets to eat from only because of a minhag. Somebody that was watching a garden and an orchard. And we're talking about fruit that's not ready to pick. And you're sitting there and you want to eat something. So there's a minhag that you get to eat. Not midaraisa, you don't get to eat anything. But there's a minhag you get to eat. But if you're watching wine that's already pressed and piles of fruit, so in this case, right over here, this shomer kishuim comes out that he'll be able to eat l'chayra midaraisa. Why? It's a pile of vegetables, and he gets to eat. Kosavar. Why? Mishamer koisem ma'asadami. Similar to what we said the other day of mahalach koisem. Over here also. Guy sitting on a comfortable chair, he has a gun in his pocket, does nothing. Doesn't even type with his fingers, just watching, looking around, listening to music. But he's a shomer. Shomer, he does, it's as if he's working, and the Torah says, you're working, you get to eat. Shmuel argues, who eats b'minog? Only actually, this guy right here doesn't eat minat Torah. He eats because there's a minhag for him to eat. and somebody watching wine. But somebody who watches a garden and a pardes doesn't eat minat Torah. Why? Because he holds that when you watch, you're just a security guard. You did nothing. And then you do nothing, you don't get to eat. When was the last time I told you about my guards and my property? Did I say it recently? I think I did, but okay, I'll say it anyway. I bought this property in 2005, and it was a lot of, like 460 units. And it was part of that 2,000 apartment deal. It was by itself the worst property, right? Shootings. Some guys were shooting. They wanted to see who could hit the lamppost, the street lights. They were shooting at the street lights. They knocked them out. No lights. It was a disaster. So we hired security, and one of the reviews said that this is where the famous show Cops is filmed. That was like one of the reviews. Anyway, so it was Nairvayim. We're bringing security, and we're losing a lot of money because security is a fortune. So I came up with this idea that I'm going to get my own security. I bought 2 golf carts, and I hired the biggest, tallest guys, shaykh, real dumb guys, but I got them security vests and jackets and the whole thing. It said security in white and black shirt, and they were supposed to patrol the property. Kids are, all of a sudden, there's like a murder or something, like, where were you guys? Turns out they were sleeping on the job. So I really should say it on Amud Beis when we talk about sleeping, but I remembered it here, so I'll say it over here. So anyway, the bottom line was that I kept these guys, even though they slept on the job, because I came up with this trick. I found out there's a device that you have to like take your phone or like another device and hold it against a magnet, and it registers that you touch the magnet. And each magnet, you buy these magnets, and each magnet, one is number 1, 2, 3. So I hung them up like inside the hallways of different buildings. And then I was able to see if they actually they had to go over to the magnet with their phone. They couldn't sleep in the golf cart. So they go to building number 1 at 1 a.m., building number 2 at 1:05 a.m. And like this, they had to go from building to building to building, and they were walking in and out of these things. And that's it. There's no more sleeping on the job. Beautiful. But you have to like, in business, the whole chachma of business is to come up with solutions, because that's the whole, you're always going to get thrown at different things to come up with a solution. Fine. Huh?
Did it help the crime on the property?
Yeah, it's my best property today. Still have that property. It's my favorite, best property. That's the one I went to visit.
Do you have the dogs?
No, we don't need guards, Baruch Hashem. It's over. It's not on cops anymore. It's Baruch Hashem. Givaldi. Says the Gemara. Where are we? Whoa. Oh. So, Motzei Ravacha Bar Avuna. Yeah, it's an amazing story. 5, thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'll tell you, you helped me a lot. You started off this year in a beautiful mood for me, and I'm going just flowing with that mood.
So well.
I know. You could tell. Motzei Ravacha Bar Avuna. Hamishamer sapora metame begodim. There's a beautiful halach here, and this answers the riddle. When you watch the Parah Aduma, where's the Parah Aduma story? Here. Parah Aduma. You shech the Parah Aduma, and you have to watch it. Now, everybody that works with the Parah Aduma becomes tamei. The guy that throws the wood into the fire, the guy that sprinkles, everybody that works with the Parah Aduma becomes tamei. Even the security guard. Now the problem is, and if you hold, like we just said, like Shmuel, that if you're a security guard, you don't do any, it's not considered you working. So if you didn't work, why do you become tamei? So here's the answer to the riddle. Here's one case in Shas. A guy doesn't touch anything, he's not involved in anything, he's just looking. By looking, he became tamei. That's great if you hold that looking, being a shomer is a maisa. But if you hold it's not a maisa, how do you become tamei? I'm concerned that as a security guard, he might move the animal and we just make him tamei right away. Mazarav kana. Hamishamer arba what? Huh?
What would happen if you move the animal?
Anybody that touches the animal becomes tamei. Since he's a security guard and his job is to watch this thing, he might say, listen, this limb is out of place. Let me go like this. He might touch it. Yeah, this is Xera. Yep. Don't take that job. Mazar Avkana. Hamishamer, take it. It's a beautiful thing. Hamishamer arba v'chamish mikshois. If a person is watching 5 fields for 5 different people, squash fields, it's not nice to take all your bonus fruit or mishamayim fruit from one guy. Split it up evenly. You eat from each one a fifth. But if, in fact, you're not doing anything, why do you eat at all? You should get 0. Because they're detached, like we said before, detached fruit, you get to eat from. Once it's detached like this, it's already meiser, and if it's already yechayiv meiser, you don't get to eat from it. Says the Gemara, if I zoom in here, you can see the pikas. Here we go. You guys see that? Okay. Omer Ravashi, you can say that's the yellow flower. If the yellow flower is still on it, we said even one falls off, then it all becomes chayiv meiser, but not even one fell off. Omer Ravashi, you can say the Shmuel Mistarba. It's not. So this is just a technical thing. We have a right to Shmuel because it says that these are the ones that eat minat Torah. Who eats? Like that. If we want to go back, we go back to this thing. Okay. It says these are the ones that eat minat Torah, and these are the ones that don't eat minat Torah. Some don't get to eat minat Torah, but only from a minhag. And we have to ask, these are those who don't eat. What does it mean? If it means literally that they don't eat minat Torah, but they eat because of a minhag, then it's exactly like the Reisha. It doesn't make sense. Who's that? That's Shmuel. There's some that don't eat at all. If a guy works with something that's attached to the ground and it's not even ready to be picked, and certainly a security guard doesn't get to eat at all, and not like Rav. Says the Mishnah. This is finally, in all of Shas, we've been discussing this, and here it is, right here. Arba Shoymrim Heim. There are 4 types of Shoymrim. Shomer Chinam, somebody who watches something for free. V'hashoyel, and when you borrow something, noises sachar, you get paid to watch. V'hasoicher, and if you rent. Shomer Chinam. What's a Shomer Chinam? Chayavan? Only on Pshia. Shomer Chinam nishba alakol. So if it's Gneva Vaveda, it was stolen or lost or stolen, he doesn't pay, but he has to swear. Vashoyel, on the flip side, the worst of the worst is somebody who takes something for free. You get what you pay for, basically. If he would have paid a little bit rent, he would have been absolved from all this, but since he didn't, Mishalam Misakol, he has to pay everything. Besides one thing, Mesa Machmas Malacha. Huh? Vimoy, that's next Mishnah. So here it says in the Mishnah like this: V'noisis sachar, a guy that gets paid to watch. V'hasoicher. What halacha does a soicher have, Rabbi Isai? Like who? Like a shem chinam, like a shem sachar? Machloikis. Over here the Mishnah says v'noisis sachar v'hasoicher, they're the same. So the Mishnah is passing like that Manda that says that renter is like a watcher that gets paid. Nishbam al shvura, they have to pay if it's broken. Val shvuya, if it was captured. Val mesa, and if it died. Umisham v'sa'aveda v'sa'gneva, and the renter and the shomer sachar have to pay for gneva aveda. Mantana arbar shoymim. Who says arbar shoymim? That's 4. So that's the Gemara understood in the beginning. The Gemara is going to run away from that real quick. It's Reb Meir. Is there anybody in the world that holds there's only 3 shoymim, not 4? Can't be. All through Shas, it's 4 shoymim. Shemchin Shem Sachar, Soicher, and Shoyel. This is what I meant. Mantana, who's the author of our Mishnah that says Soicher Kenoisis Sachar? It's Reb Meir. That's Reb Meir. Here. If you have a shayla here, soicher, what is a soicher like? Remeir says like a Shem Sacher. So perfect. Our Mishnah goes like Remeir, the whole Mishnah. Ask the Gemara of Remeir Ibcha Shaminulei. Here, check out the chart. Oh, we know the Remeir says it's Shem Mechina. The Zayin Soicher Mishal Kids Mishal. Remeir Oim Kishem Mechina. Remeir Oim Kishem Sacher. Says Gemara Rabbi Ravuah Ibcha Katani. Rabbi Ravuah holds like this. It's Remeir that says Shem Sacher. Rabbi Ihachi Arba. So why you tell me there's 4 shomerim? There's actually 3 shomer chinam, shomer and a shayel, and shomer sacher and soicher. You bundle them together; they have the same exact halacha. You just said soicher is like shomer sacher here. They're the same. Oh, so the Gemara says, it's 4 types. One rents and one gets paid to watch. But those 2 have the same halachas. Says the Gemara, there was a shepherd who was shepherding his animals next to the river. Sharig chadaminai, one slipped into the river, unaflis of the maya, and it died. Also, given the Rabbi Patrin. Rabbi said, Potter, Omar, so here's Rabbi. Rabbi said, remember this Rabbi. This is a great excuse. What should he do? He did everything that other people do. Sometimes even if you're slightly negligent, but if everybody does it like that, that's your p'tur. So Tzaddik Gimel Beis, sponsored by Eric Adelman of Bigger Cup Consulting and Kidnovations zechus, quick Refuah Shelaima for Lana Devorah bas Hadassah Leah, the mother who is in critical condition after giving birth, as zechus for Akiva Simcha Ben Fayga. If you go take a break, everybody in this city takes breaks between 2 and 4. What is it? What do they call it again here? No, but there's a Schlufstande. It's a siesta between 2 and 4. When I was a kid, I don't know if it still exists, but between 2 and 4, you couldn't make noise and all the stores closed. There's a whole Mashigas back then here in Eretz Yisrael. You remember that?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Hey, kids, no playing ball, sleeping. All of a sudden you hear the tris. Oh no, the old man. Hello, ani yoshen. Yeah. Anyway, must have been. You had the same neighbor. Yeah. All the stores between 2 and 4. You can't do nothing. Yeah. Elamato must have been the Dailinche. Hochinami the potter. Amalei in. Yes. If the shepherd leaves his flock and goes to the city, he's potter. What happens if the shepherd goes to sleep? He has a flock of sheep and goes to sleep in the middle. While everybody sleeps between 2 and 4. Hochanami the potter? Amalein. Rabbi said, I thought when I read this, it just sounded so funny. Shepherd sleeping while all his sheep are then sleeping. So I searched on the internet for this. Check this out. There's a Murdik video here. Yesterday took me only 2 hours back and forth, but it's worth it. This is the guy that helped me out, Eliyahu. I went all the way to Metzia for this. Then they'd say, "Idiot! They have the sheep right here." I looked for them, but I couldn't find them. He says, "No, I know where they are. Then the mamish 5 minutes from here." Okay, I wasted 2 hours. This could die. Anyway, Zok the Gemara. Eisvei Eloi Mainzim Sheshoymer Sacher Potter Aleim. You think it's better?
This is like the best thing. Yeah.
Yoshi said the same thing. Yoshi wrote to me, that's my favorite of all. Okay, so it's worth it. Yishkoyach. Eisvei Elu Hey Mainzim. I was a little upset that the cameraman was like a little zoomed in. Okay, fine. It worked out great. Eisvei Elu Mainzim Sheshoymer Sacher Thank you, Luzzy, who came with me and he wasted not Yo, Luzzy. He was the cameraman. Shkoyach. Also, what's the name of the Chavat Minchas? Whatever. It's a frum place. It was Givaldic. Yeah, it's worth it. You're rushing to say Kaddish or something, Gary? It says in Eoiv that when they come, they took the arm and killed them and took the sheep. Oh, then you potter. Seems like if you're going to sleep on the job, leave. Of course you're chayiv. We're talking about the city security. That you can't sleep on the job. This is big stuff. Everybody can get killed. You can't sleep. Yaakov Avinu said to Lavan, I worked through the hottest days, through the coldest nights. Seems like you can't just take off and take a rest. No, talking about he couldn't rest. He had to work through the cold, through the snow, because he was a chazan of the Masa. He was the security of the city. He was a regular shepherd. No, I worked so hard. I stayed there when I didn't have to stay there. The shepherd went and he came to the city. I gotta show you this. First of all, Yoshi did this guy. Okay, fine. But this is one that we never showed. But this is actually from our 3D artist. I thought it was pretty interesting. It's the MDYG Safari time. The guy's getting a shtickle better, I think. It's only 8:06. All right, Bo Ariv Doras.
This is making up for the beginning, right? Look at you.
Should have been the beginning, not the end. A lion came and killed. If he was there, he could have saved. No. He has a way out. Why? You see, if it's a big lion, he can't fight it. Okay, he's potter. If it's a small wolf, then he's chayev. He's potter if it's a lion, chayev if he's this. My love, he went to sleep. He took a nap. He went back to the city at between 2 and 4. Nevertheless, he's still chayev if it's a smaller animal. You see, you're not allowed to leave. He left at 1 o'clock, not at 2 o'clock. He shouldn't have left. My potter. So if he left at 1 o'clock when nobody leaves, and then came a wolf, a lion, and killed the animal, why is he potter? Oh, you say, such a big animal, he couldn't have fight him anyway. But he had no reason, he had no right to leave at 1 o'clock. And what is that called? He shouldn't have left at 1 o'clock, that's a pshia. At the end, what happened was, a lion came and there was an inus, okay, great. But he's still chayiv because he started off on the left foot, b'pshia. Says more, the Shama Kol Arye V'al once said that a lion, his roar is heard 8 miles, or 5 miles. 5 miles away, you can hear. So he hears that roar, he says, Oy vey, and then he ran. That's why he's potter. What could he do? We have another video, Rabbi say, who cares about chakras right now? Here we go. This is a real video of a lion. I'll just explain. In the Masei Mara, there's the people called the Masei. These are the Maseis, and they actually graze their sheep and their cows in the middle of the jungle with the lions. They live there. So once in a while, a lion chaps a cow. Now that's their whole livelihood. So they come a lot of them. One is not a good idea. Look, he turns around, he sees if he could scare them, the lion. He's not so interested in running away from his prey. But eventually they get them to run, the lion runs away. They have knives, they have the swords, the whole thing, and they're dangerous chevra. So he should have called up the chevra to chase them away. Says Gemara, even if you don't get paid, call up the backup. You make that phone call. No. The point is, because since you don't get paid, all you have to do is find free people. Oh boy. You have to pay from your own money. 1 minute, so we'll just do one more line to explain that. Shem Sachar has to pay for his own money to hire his backup. The value of the entire flock. But that doesn't make any sense, as the Gemara. Hashem Sachar doesn't have to pay if lions come. If you have to take out of your own pocket, that means that you're chayiv in einzim. The shakel, the meyim balabayis. Should we just go to bar? Let's just go to formal lines because it's already 10. So what did the owner of the flock gain? He's going to pay. His flock is worth $10,000. He's going to pay $10,000 out of his pocket to pay back the Shem Zachar. He gained zero. No, he gained a lot. He's already very familiar with these sheep. He already trained them. He knows them. They know him. To go out to the marketplace and hire and buy new sheep and handle and bring them on a truck and this and that. Too much tircha. They don't hold of rabba that what? That you're allowed, you get away with. If everybody else takes a nap now, you could also take a nap. No. I pay you. I pay you to be a Shem Sachar. You cannot take any naps. Rabbi, have a wonderful day. Motzei Shabbos at 9:45.